Everyone. Good evening, everyone, and good day. I guess is the best to describe wherever we are coming from. Um, Today we're going to talk about personalized health. I've got two speakers with me. Before I do that, let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Muthu Sungaram. I'm the founder of Atrium and also the startup Podium. I have created the whole program with my co-founder, and we've been running this from last week until next Friday, until this Friday. So this morning we are talking about personalized healthcare. So I have two panelists with me. The first one to go would be Sumant he's from India, and he is actually CEO of Spaceify Technology and has 22 years of experience in real estate construction, and now he is in software. He operates out of Gujarat, and he can further add on to his introduction. Over to you, Sumant, to start.
Thank you, Muthu, and really appreciate this opportunity. Let me quickly go into my opening slide, which is somewhere different. Oops. All right, so I am just a quick disclaimer. I am not a doctor or from the medical field. I'm basically a guy who studied construction in college, built a lot of buildings in India as well as in US, and 2 years back, 2018 is when I got into software, and my journey so far has been of an explorer trying to find how technology is impacting our life and how it is going to change that as we move forward. So when Muthu and I were discussing on innovation and other stuff, he thought that my views were valuable enough to be shared on a larger podium. So I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm trying to get my full slide seen. And that, all right, now can you guys see the?
Very good. Yes.
All right, before I start, just wanted to let you know that other than being a business guy and into software and construction, I am also an avid trekker and traveler, and I meet a lot of different kind of people. So my perspectives are formed not only by my profession or my research, but also by the many variety of people that I meet. And that includes a lot of medical professionals also. So I would start with something what I call, wake up, and a quick question that generally anybody with a blood pressure of 220 by 110 would be considered unhealthy. That's a statement that any doctor would agree with. I'm sure we have a expert doctor, Jaydev, on the call, and if I see him kind of nodding his head that, yeah, that's kind of true. And what I'm trying to do here is just identify that we need to break the way we think, and then only advancement can happen in any field. And of course, medical is one of the most important fields. The second statement I am showing is again something that most of the doctors will agree with, is that a BMI below 18.5 is considered underweight and is considered unhealthy. And Jaydev, I would request, if you agree with that, you will again give a smile and nod. So these are two very general statements, and I'm emphasizing the word general as in opposed to personalized, like applicable to most of the people. So again, blood pressure of 220 by 110 would be considered unhealthy. A BMI below 18.5 is considered unhealthy. Let's see what can be a good indicator of health. Somebody who walks 18 kilometers every day 18 kilometers, that is 22,500 steps, for 40 years, almost every day for 40 years. I think we would all agree that that is considered healthy, right? Thanks for those who see the connection. And the part that I'm trying to highlight here is that I'm talking about the same person. The same person has 220 by 110. The same person has a BMI of less than 18.5. In fact, it is only 17.1. and the same person walks 18 kilometers every day for 40 years. And yes, the image kind of gives it away. I am talking about father of India, father of the nation for India, Mahatma Gandhi, who is known, entire world follows him. And he had a blood pressure of 220 by 110. That was the range he lived until recorded history is available. He was only 43 kilograms at a height of 5 feet 5 inches, which means a BMI of only 17.1. So now that is the deviation, or the it could be like, you could say that it's an anomaly, but that is just to highlight that all of us humans are unique. Well, everybody knows that, but then for some reason, maybe because of statistics, or maybe because we want to make generalized decisions, medical care and healthcare has batched human beings into various categories. And I just want to highlight the fact that today, when we are in the day and age of technology, the human aspect, the individuality of a human being should also be kind of respected and given the uniqueness of our character. We all know our fingerprint, our DNA is uh, very unique. It doesn't match any other humans, even if they are twin brothers or sisters. So why do we have the similar kind of treatment for the similar kind of indicators? So that is the premise of my wake-up discussion. We already know that personalized medicine is available, that different people on different of their different genome sequences will require different doses or even different type of treatments. So why are we not exploring that? That is the premise of today's panel discussion also. And of course, our expert speaker from the medical field is Dr. Jaydev, and he'll talk elaborately on that. I consider it my job just to make sure that everybody is open to new ideas and not just stuck with the way things have been so far. The other premise that I want to break is, what do we mean by healthcare is itself a question. So my statement is that ensuring the health of a human, ensuring health of the mind, of the body, of the soul, to me, that is healthcare. We'll come back to this one later on, but let us also identify what is not healthcare. Only treating the sick cannot be called healthcare. That is almost like sick care. You are taking care of people after the fact, when they've already fallen sick. And the premise that I am trying to build is that ensuring that they don't fall sick, or rather that they are in wellness, they are healthy. That is kind of the premise of healthcare. And when I say health, it is not only of the body. Body is one part of what we are. The health should also include the mind and the soul. So it is not something to do with religious beliefs. I am talking scientific only. The mind controls the rest of the body. It's a very well-known philosophy behind that, and proven also. And everybody has some connection with the entire universe, and that is what we consider as soul. Words can be different in different cultures, but all three together create the health. So why are we not looking at the other aspects and give that importance so that there is balance? That is also one of the premise that I want to bring today. Again, sick care is not healthcare because that's after the fact. So in the end of the day, we are all in business. We are all in a capitalist society, and things will work only when they are profitable. That is the general science. So can such healthcare be profitable? Today, the entire business model is based on treatment, and treatment obviously happens after the fact. And you pay when you fall sick. So the people who earn obviously earn when you fall sick. How do we turn it around? Can we make it upside down? Like right now it is kind of upside down, but can we make it the right side up? Can people in the medical field, the doctors, the practitioners, the counselors, the psychologists, can all of them actually be profitable if everybody is healthy? Well, they need to be, because their interest should align with the interest of the rest of the human population. So there definitely needs to be alternate methods, and now with so many startups coming up and all and general acceptance on alternate methods. So my premise is there should be an alternate economic system also, where people are incentivized or profitable because everyone else is healthy, not the other way around. So medical professionals profit when people stay healthy. It's like, your company does good and you get bonuses. And it's not only the people who turn around sick companies who make bonuses. It's like those who keep it healthy and profitable make bonus. Similarly, why not medical professionals profit when people stay healthy? Some way of connecting health with profits uh, can definitely be thought of. And one of the biggest beneficiaries would obviously be the insurance companies, because they lose when people fall sick. So their incentive is already built into this. And if there is some way of figuring out the rest of the pieces, then definitely we will have a very good system. Can technology be the game changer? Well, I know this whole medical fair that we are part of is based on technology, tech devices, and a lot of other things. So I'm not giving any examples from the general industry, but one stood up to me, and that's why I'm sharing. Disclaimer, I have nothing to do with that company. Just I came across and found it very interesting. And the example is of a AI-based mobile app, which is able to monitor your heart rate variability, your oxygen saturation, your respiration rate, your mental stress, and very soon they are claiming to include blood pressure, and who knows what all they will be able to do. Now, why I am making this as an example is purely because the smartphones have already penetrated into human population almost 70% today. And 50% of human population is already connected to the digital world through fast speed internet. And in the next 5 years, almost everyone is going to be, with all those satellites that are being launched uh, for connectivity. No place on earth will be left without data connectivity. So, and we all know that in the back end, all this is connected with the cloud. So can every human being have their own medical record constantly being updated, so that their individual parameters, whatever it is, whether it is respiration or heart rate or whatever else indicators need to be validated, can be tracked on a constant basis in the cloud using their own patterns, so that it is not a batch-wise system of uh, assigning whether they are healthy or not, but more personalized. And if there is any reason to intervene, well, uh, there are ways. I will not describe this one because it's very controversial, but we know that even if there is a genetic anomaly, today personalized ways are available to correct them. But more so for the personal records, somebody who has a correlation between heart rate and blood pressure or any other thing, their medical records taken almost on a daily or even an hourly basis would give you the kind of insights you need on their personal medical records. And then if there is an intervention required, then the intervention would definitely take place. That's my premise, and I leave it open back to uh, to the panel to take it forward. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope some ideas came out of this presentation which would help all of you. Thank you.
Uh, Great, thank you, Sumant. And now I'm going to get Jaydev to speak. He is a physician in the United States, and he also has a startup. He works with startups and so on. So I'm going to let him also add on to the introduction and take the discussion forward. Over to you, Jaydev.
Sure, thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak my experience about personalized healthcare. Thank you for that introduction, Muthu, and thank you to all the organizers of Medical Federation. In the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to speak about my experience with personalized healthcare, and also put forward certain aspects of where we stand in delivering healthcare today. What are the new advances made? What are the future areas of focus? And eventually, what are the challenges with all the new technologies that have come into the market? So without any further delay, let me share my screen, and I can share my thoughts on this. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, Jaydev, we can see it.
So let's move ahead. So this is about me. I am currently in the state of North Carolina. I moved here about a year and a half ago as a clinical program director for a complex care clinic. I'm designing and implementing that in a way to provide personalized care to the highest of the high-risk population out here. It's an effort to help improve the quality of life and reduce the cost of care. My main passion is in the areas of innovation in healthcare, using healthcare technology. Did a lot of work with population health management in the past. And as you know now, the paradigm has shifted from population health to precision health, right? So we'll be talking more about that as along the line as well. I've been involved in healthcare leadership along this way, and along with the job title that I carry on the side, I'm very much involved in looking into innovative ways of leading the technology and developing those technological nuances to help the technological innovations these days to help with providing more personalized care in the future. So let's talk about it. These are my disclosures about the software that I'm developing, and do not have any special interest in anything else otherwise. So what is personalized care? Personalized care to me is a way to deliver individualized care, taking into consideration a person's health, their current chronic conditions, their family history, their surgical history, their genetics, their environment, but not to forget their socioeconomic background and their choice of care. So as we talk about personalized care, it often gets referred to precision medicine, AI, and a lot of other new technologies that are in the market today. But for me, the human touch always stays, and that human aspect of delivering care is as important as the technological aspect of care is concerned. And there is a lot of work required in both areas. The 4 pillars of providing those personalized care are the one that you can see on the screen. The personalized care should be individualized, which means that one shoe size doesn't fit all. It not only has to be delivered using the latest technology, but also considering a person's preference, and the care should be delivered anywhere, anytime, and in any ways a person wants that care delivered, right? It should be highly reliable. When I say highly reliable, one way to provide high reliability is to develop new technologies that can help us provide that level of care, but also improvising the system and processes that exist today, because humans will always make error. And to try for human beings to not make error, especially in a field like healthcare, where it can be very detrimental to the patient, we have to take all those things into consideration. The personalized care should also be proactive. These days, as Sumant mentioned about sick care versus healthcare, right? Healthcare includes sick care, but healthcare is not sick care, correct? So how do we prevent things from happening? Being proactive always yields you good results. A society or a profit, as we talk in the business language, is counted in terms of the money you earn. But for a society, for a community, the profit is evaluated in terms of the health of the society, the productivity of the society, which comes from being a healthy society. So how do you deliver care in a way that you're proactive in preventing diseases, that you can eventually help the society be more productive and overall the economy be more profitable? So that's what personalized care is about. And obviously the personalized care should be holistic. As Sumant also mentioned earlier, that it should cater to body, mind, and soul. And why to the mind? Because a lot of decisions we make, a lot of lifestyle decisions we make are related to our mind. It's the mind who makes us do certain amount of things. So as much as we focus on the health of a body, we need to focus on the health of a mind. And that focus does not necessarily mean treating mental health problems, but in a way working with the person to keep the mental health good, and keep that person happy and healthy mentally, to be able to make good choices, which eventually can prevent a lot of diseases. And the disease burden can eventually go down because of that. So this is something that really nicely depicts where we stand right now and what the future is like. As you could see, we are currently in evidence-based medicine and clinical trial, and the future is on precision medicine and algorithms. But I would say that it's not only precision medicine, and that's not only what personalized care means. It's just a subset of personalized care. But there are many other branches of personalized care that we need to consider while delivering care. Obviously, we'll talk about AI and precision medicine as we go forward. Having said that, let's come to care. Care in general, when you want to provide care to someone, you divide that into three ways. Either you prevent things from happening or diseases from happening. You treat when the diseases occur. And then when you cannot cure this, you can at least heal them by providing palliation. The sympathy, the empathy, the compassion are always very important characteristics of a healthcare provider, and will always be. And whether how advanced the technology is, those are the main characteristic on which the care should be delivered. And obviously there can be work done around that as well. So we'll go one after one about all these three domains, but one thing I want you to take a note of in this slide is treatment aspect, where the treatment can be based on evidence, on complexity, on the choice, the genetic makeup of a person, but also now in this day and age we have to talk about technology-based care, which a lot of companies are entering into, trying to make new innovations in that area that can help the healthcare team provide better care to the patient, influence them, empower them, and be better connected with their patients. So let's go forward. About the way I look at personalized care is a triad between humans, technology, and the healthcare, the way you deliver it, right? So the humans create technology. The technology is used to deliver personalized care, and the humans are also at the receiving end of personalized care. And the important aspect between all these three, domains is the way the person wants to be cared for, right? The choice for the care, and the way they want to be cared for, where they want to be cared for. So those are important aspects, no matter what technology we develop, but if we do not cater it the way the patient wants it, it may not be meaningful to them. Some statistics, if you can see the burden of diseases, chronic diseases, cardiovascular diseases, cancer is significant. Whether you look at the whole world, how many people develop those diseases every year, how many of them die. This is how many people die of these diseases every year in the world. 70 or 80% of most of these patients die of chronic complex diseases, and that's why the focus should be on those diseases, not only with prevention, but with treatment and palliation as well. This was an astounding figure from Japan last year, that they have been recording a number of deaths from Alzheimer's disease, and that has increased by 49% compared to 2009. And that is something that tells us that we're entering into different territories of complex chronic diseases that we need to focus on. This is how much every country spends on healthcare, right? You see, United States spends the most, Switzerland thereafter, per capita. And we'll see how much of the GDP also the country spends on it. But on the other side, the biggest populated country like China, India are spending too little. So is spending too much bad, or is spending too much little good or bad? Well, neither of them. we need to find a balance where the expenditure on the healthcare is giving you the results that you desire. And that is the quality of health, which at this point of time, no country can claim that their quality of health and the quality of healthcare delivery is the best and efficient as much as it should be. So that's something that everyone needs to ponder and think about. Now, this is about United States, where I practice, and something to think about. We spend about $3.7 trillion in a year in healthcare, and that's rising every year, which is 18% of the GDP. But where does most of this money go? Most of this money is spent on the top 15% of the patient, where we spend 75% of the top of the dollars in delivering care. But then the bottom 50% of the patient who are healthy, we are spending only 2.9%, which is $101 billion out of $3.7 trillion. So if we focus on this population group by providing them individual care, preventive care, influence them, empower them, and by the way, these are young people who use technology a lot, and they are very tech savvy, which we can leverage to deliver care, to try to help influence them to change their lifestyle, to prevent them getting into this category when they grow up. And that's how eventually, over a period of a decade or two, we can bend this curve and spend less on chronic care going forward. This is some other statistics for countries. As you can see, US spends the most of the GDP of any country. But if you see from the quality aspect, we cannot claim that we provide the best quality of care in the world, though there are a lot of good spots, bright spots in providing care. But I know USA can't claim right now that it's the best care in all aspects throughout, highly reliable, without any issues. 400,000 people die of medical errors every year, which is just double than what it was in 1998. So we are not there yet. And on the other hand, countries like India and Russia spend only 1.28 and 5.34%. So is that enough? And if that's the case, where is that money going, right? So sorry for that. Coming back to prevention, right? So these days we have a lot of technology, and those are listed below. There are a lot of companies that are listed on this that does work in these domains to provide care virtually, to engage with the patient, to influence them, to help them change their behavior. And obviously genetic sequencing and those kind of precision level medicine is finding its way out as well in healthcare. But what drives human behavior? What typically has happened is, for lifestyle management, we have always said, and our requested patient, can you go and do this? Can you go and do this? But how effective that has been? Not much, right? Why? Because initially the patients lack awareness. There's a lot more work need to be done in the area of awareness, where technology can be leveraged to create ways to make patients more aware of why should they change their lifestyle, right? And then the next aspect of this is empowering them with technology, empowering them with tools. And that's also where a lot of work needs to be done. Some of these examples tell how tools have been created. I call them all tools, like whether it's Fitbit or any kind of smart watches or wearables of other kind. For them, patients to be aware of where they stand with their sugar, their blood pressure, their heart rate, but then to use that information to help them change their behavior, right? A lot of telemedicine companies across the globe, as some of them are mentioned here, and they try to engage with the patients even in their own environment, and that's a step forward, but that's not it. We need more and more. And we'll talk about a few of the other aspects of care that are trying to achieve those aspects, those way of delivering care, sorry. And other thing is driving patient care with the use of technology, right? So you need to screen to prevent things from happening at an appropriate time. But how much is the health literacy of people, and how much is their willingness to do that? We don't find that consistently across the board. And that's why we need to work on trying to engage them more by the use of technology these days. And I would say that COVID did a lot of bad things to the world, but one good thing it did was it accelerated the pathway of developing these technologies to engage the patient where they are. These are a few of the pictorial representation of the technologies that are existing today. As you can see in the top left corner, there's a little girl, and the doctor sitting in his office is looking at the eardrums. Just with the use of technology, this is developed by TytoCare. And I obviously don't have any financial interest in this, but it's just from the point of sharing that now we have the capability to even listen to a patient's heart sitting in your office. We just need to use that and leverage that and kind of refine them as well. And then below that is the contact lens that you can see that Google developed, which helps you measure a person's glucose level just from the tears. Below that is a CardioMEMS unit, where you can see a sensor on the far left, which is installed into a patient's body and can monitor the patient's fluid level on a day-to-day basis. And the cardiologist can adjust the diuretic or the water pill dose right from their home. And this, I am familiar with this and I've used this, and it has helped us save a lot of hospitalizations. In the middle, you can see this man working in the front of a mirror who gives them all the stats on their workout that they're using and motivating. Obviously, there are lots and lots of wearable IoTs that are out in the market these days. And on the top right corner, you can see a way for a patient to understand the choices they are making. This cranberry almond crunch that this patient bought obviously has 3.5 teaspoonful of sugars, and it can give you other alternatives as it's depicted. There's an app called Fooducate, which helps you educate on the food and what to eat, what not to eat, what are the better choices to make. So let's come to the treatment aspect now. As much as we dwell on the prevention, the treatment is equally important. And in that, the treatment is, we are moving from volume to value-based care across the world, right? In value-based care, part of subset of that is the kind of work I do, which is complex care. And that has helped individualize care to those subset of patients, considering their socioeconomic background, their health literacy, their association or lack of association with technology, to make it more affordable, to make it more meaningful, and eventually reduce the cost of care. We have medical tourism these days that provide value by reducing the cost of care and providing a great experience at the same quality by supporting care in a place where, without compromising the quality, you can get it delivered at a better cost. On the other hand, we leverage technology to provide treatment. And in the past, used to be, okay, you see me, my clinical diagnosis, I think I judge, and judgment can often be wrong. And then these days, now we have algorithms, we have robots, we have genetics, all for us to direct care to a particular patient. I have had psychiatrists use this genetic testing often out here to determine which depression medication would have least interaction and have the most efficacy with this patient before even they deliver that medication to the patient. On the side, there are examples of companies doing work along that line. Google has acquired DeepMind back in 2014 or 16, I believe, and they're doing amazing work around developing AI technologies and algorithms in the field of medicine. But one caveat we need to keep in mind is, from the time a research happened to the technology hitting market, at least in healthcare that I can speak of, it takes 17 years as based on the work done so far. But hopefully, for all those who are listening to this and the technologies that are coming across, we'll be able to reduce that gap and make it deliverable as fast as we can. Few other examples here as well. OM1, big data, a company in Massachusetts. They're moving from population health to precision health, and that's where the healthcare is going. Tempus has the largest library of clinical and molecular data available, which are used just by using a salivary sample to do sequencing and deciding treatment in oncology and psychiatry, right? Many people get worried about if people will be replaced and the jobs will be replaced, but the one gentleman out here very nicely said it's that the chemist who use the machine will replace those who don't. So we have to learn about how do we, as healthcare professionals, start learning and delivering care with the use of technology. These are some future areas of focus, right? Precision medicine, big data. Big data is good, but we need to know how to secure it, how to safely deliver it. AI is good, artificial intelligence, but what are the biases in creating the models? There's nothing intelligent about artificial intelligence. If you ask an AI guy, it's machine learning. So it's what you input is how you get the output. So if your input is biased, if your input is imperfect, your output will be imperfect. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done along that line, but we are learning, we are moving forward. The computational engineering, how do you compute this data? You have the data, but how do you turn it into a meaningful information? There's a whole science behind that. And then the whole aspect of interconnectivity and interoperability, right? So we have a lot of healthcare systems, a lot of countries, a lot of continents, but how surely can we say all of them are connected, or we know what happened to a patient in one continent when they travel to other continent? People travel. People will move from one place to another, and we have to develop a way that we can keep all their medical data safe and connected. So we need to work on that aspect as well. Obviously, we talk about behavior modification, but I'll take it to a next step that we also need behavioral modification for our healthcare team. We have to train medical professionals for the healthcare of future. How will their education look like in this healthcare era of artificial intelligence and genetic sequencing and precision medicine? So we need to do work and develop technologies and educational processes behind that. Virtual connectivity is imminent, and it's going to be part of healthcare going forward for a long period of time. And then finally, you have to provide care anywhere. One of the things that Pixel does is provide a CBC just by a finger prick in your home. So that's just the beginning. There's much more room for developing more testing to be done at home, that you can, without visiting a patient home, get data on this patient to treat them if they have acute complaints. This brings me to what I'm doing to help the medical field move forward in providing personalized medicine. So I have been working on creating this software called MedFlows. That is a very dynamic flow of information in the form of a flow chart, meant to help review medical information while treating the patient very efficiently in less than 2 minutes, to help reduce the clinical variation and the cost of care. It's a way of providing personalized care, as it is integrated with electronic medical records. And it also uses AI to help you, give you probabilities of differential diagnosis that can exist, and the recommended test that you should order to help you choose wisely. So this is one of the pictures from my website, which depicts, if you want to learn about hypothyroidism, to save you time, it should be all bullet points, and all these things in blue are one you can click, and they are dynamic. And as I can show you, that when you click on bradycardia, it shows you the definition of it. And then it also shows you how bradycardia looks, which is very nice for early learners to know what we are talking about. But it's not verbose, it's not in paragraph. It can be reviewed very quickly. And usually this, you want to know the history, the physical diagnosis, the treatment of all these medical diseases, but in a quick way, which with aid of visual and audio, you can do that through this website. Not to mention, if someone has high TSH, you would like to know what to do. Now, if this integrates with the EMR, so it nicely helps you look at where you are in that flow of information, right? So here it tells you that you already have measured TSH, which is high, and we recommend the following test. Now, when you do that test and you reach to a diagnosis of hypothyroidism, you can directly click on it from here itself, and it can take you to hypothyroidism, which is few slides before that we saw here. And then you can read about what you want to see about hypothyroidism, ranging from etiology all the way to treatment and epidemiology. So it's very easy to follow, it's very quick, and it takes you dynamically from one place to other. Now, let's say you're in a patient's chart and you have patient came in with fatigue and weight gain. All these blue letters are one that are clickable and have some information connected with it. So if you highlight fatigue and weight gain, you can click on the run the differentials, and it will take you to the differentials for those complaints. You can also click on any lab values right from here on your screen in the progress node without having to leave your progress node and get to the abnormalities. So let's say if you click on TSH is 7.5, it will directly take you here into this flow chart to be able to review what it is about. And then if you want to see differentials, you can click on differentials, and this is how it will show you. It can show you in a graphical way of what differentials are there for your complaints, taking into consideration patient's personal health and the information in the EMR. Or it can also show you it in a differential way, just with the names and probabilities, which comes from the use of AI based on the demographics and the other testing ordered in the same organization before. So, and you can add more parameters to this to narrow down your differentials, and then it will tell you what are the recommended tests, as you can see on the screen, like here. And then even if the tests were normal, they're on their screen, and on the left side, there are tests that can be ordered, which can be directly ordered from there itself. And you don't have to leave the progress node. You do not have to leave the EMR to review this information. And these are very, very specific to that patient individual. Again, we had seen that calcium level was high. So when you click on the calcium, you just have to click wherever you are and you see the calcium value, and it will take you to this evaluation for hypercalcemia. And when you click on this, it takes you to this screen, which is highlighted to tell you are here in the flow chart. And this patient is on hydrocortisone, which is causing hypercalcemia. So let's stop it. And you stop it and you come back in 3 months. And then it will highlight this branch of the flow chart and tell you where you are. And then it tells you these are the 5 recommended tests that can be done for that, with the probabilities of each one of that. So that you don't order all of this test, but choose wisely to help you reduce the cost of care. You can directly order it from here. And as you can see, the chest x-ray is in green, which means it's already been done and it's normal. So you don't have to worry about that. And among these 4 tests, then you can decide what you want to do, add it to the patient order, and you're done. So that's a little about what I'm trying to do in terms of contributing to the field of healthcare in personalized medicine. And any questions along this line are welcome. I'm sure you all are doing your part, and we're very interested in moving forward and doing more in aspects of delivering personalized care in future. So thank you for the time, and thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. So thank you very much, Jaydev, for that enlightening presentation. It had a lot of information and what you as a practitioner are trying to do for personalized medicine. Now, a good point with the Sumant brought up was that the insurance companies will be delighted if people don't have to go to see a doctor or a hospital, because they would save lots of money. Even yesterday or day before yesterday, we had a speaker from Boston talking about that they were asked to leave a day early from the hospital when they had a child, and the insurance company offered them a very lucrative amount to leave a day early. And since there was nothing wrong, so they actually took up the offer and left a day early. So as you can see, insurance companies are willing to do that to keep their costs down. Now, what my question is, are they the only ones who would benefit if we reduce hospital care and going to medicine, or is there others who can benefit too from these? Maybe one of the things could happen is people will start visiting doctors to stay healthy and not to be sick.
Yeah, I think everyone benefits from it. Every country is different and their healthcare system is different. The way insurance work is different. I have more experience working in the United States, so I'll speak from that perspective. But here what has happened is CMS has started changing the way they are paying the healthcare systems, right? So here there is an incentive. So for change in behavior, always you need some incentive to change the behavior. Initially here, let's say you have a patient admitted with pneumonia, and then they have pleural effusion, which is fluid around the lungs. And then you try to remove that fluid and you puncture the lung, which is called pneumothorax. You'll put a tube in and the patient will stay in the hospital for 3-4 more days. You did more procedure, you caused the complication, and you got more money out of that. That was the reward in the past. Nowadays, what's happening is CMS says if you have a pneumonia and you get admitted Medicare and Medicaid here, if you get admitted to the hospital, you get this much amount of money to take care of this patient. If you cause the complication, patient lived here more in the hospital, you pay the extra bucks, that whatever it takes you to care for it. There are accountable care organizations created to deliver care. So what happens is they say, okay, this is the expected amount for this risk-based patient. So that everyone is given a risk score. So for this risk level of a patient, this is how much it should cost to take care of it. At the end of the year, if you are positive more than 1%, then what is budgeted for, you have to pay back to the government as an organization. And if you save more than 1%, you're negative 1% in the care, you get bonuses from the government. So now, suddenly those hospitals who wanted more procedures, who wanted to care for more and did not reward the value, started catering to the value. So it became win-win situation, to answer your question, for the healthcare to be able to get the bonuses at the end of year from the government for better caring their patients, reducing their length of stay. It increased the productivity of the individual by getting more attention to the quality rather than quantity, and they are getting healthier. They are less in the hospital. The number of ED visits and hospitalization has gone down, and in a way that has made the society more productive and healthy. We are not there yet, but I think it's going in the right direction, and that's how things play out here, at least in the United States, to cater to value.
Muthu, thanks Jaydev, that was very insightful. Muthu, I would like to answer two things that you asked. First was whether people should visit the doctor more often to stay healthy so they stay out of the hospital. Well, now with technology, I don't think even that visit is required. If you are monitoring your symptoms and monitoring your vital statistics like temperature and blood pressure and heartbeats and all those kind of things, which is very much possible by the variables that are available, that Dr. Jaydev had a very nice slide on the very different options available. Then all that data is anyway in the cloud, and the doctor can probably get variable signals. Like when something goes out of the range, then they get a signal and they themselves send a call that, hey, listen, there's something out of line in your regular statistics. So why don't you pay me a visit? And that would be more proactive system of kind of medical intervention. So that would be kind of an indicator of something worse that could have come and become a bigger problem, and you catch it in the bud by constant monitoring and only intervening when required. So that probably would solve the problem. Your second question was, are the insurance company the only beneficiary? I don't think so. They are one of the beneficiaries. I think the biggest beneficiary is society at large, because when somebody falls sick and goes to the hospital, it is not only that person or that person's medical health insurance that is suffering. The entire family suffers, right? There has to be impact on the spouse or the children or the parents, whoever is living with you. Or it also creates stress to many people who may not live with you but really care for you. It takes away their mind space, so that also has a cost. It does impact in an indirect manner. Loss of productivity. When somebody is sick and in hospital, they are obviously not being productive for the companies that they work for. Or even if they are business owners, it is going to impact their business, and the employees may not be able to function the way they would earlier. So the cost is much, much more than just the cost of treatment or the saving that the insurance company would have. It is just that right now we don't have such clear statistics. Like we can't track that, and just because we can't track it, they are kind of not in the radar. But I'm sure Dr. Jaydev would have more knowledge about the cost of falling sick beyond just the medical care.
Yeah, I would add to that the mind shift is very important, and it has moved from seeing a doctor to staying connected with the doctor, right? Nowadays in United States, they're expecting 130,000 shortage of doctors by 2025. Okay? In that, you have to deliver care to more aging population. And how do you do that? And that's where you aid your technology. But not only that, you have to this generation thinking 5 years ahead will have to think about, there will be a data overload. Now more and more patients get savvy with this. They will stay connected with you, as Sumant said, through this or that technology. How are you going to manage that? Right? You don't have that manpower. How are you going to do that, whether here or in Asia and Asian countries? And that's where you have to think about, how are you going to develop a technology to manage that and find signals that are in the red zone versus the green zone, and segregate that and then provide care. So kind of that is also a way of personalizing care and staying connected.
Very good. Now, how do you think public health will benefit? I mean, public health has become in the forefront because of the COVID and pandemic. Even in India, it is never in the forefront, but it is right now. How would personalized medicine help doing that?
So public health, obviously, when you talk about personalized care, um, first and foremost, you have to deploy technology and your vision and mind shift in a way to engage the public, for them to be at the receiving end of it. And I think still there's a lot of work that needs to be done in that area to get the people to understand this, for them to come forward to receive personalized care. And that can be done. So what has happened is, rather than one-on-one conversation right now, obviously, if we take the example of Zoom sitting here, there are 100 people that can sign up to the Zoom call, right? It didn't used to be the case before. So there are a lot of tribal and remote areas in many countries that you can't get healthcare to, but if you can get the connectivity to and the cell phone too, sitting in a city, you can provide the care to the rural areas. And that's how the public health gets better. Right now, very few are getting the benefit that should be provided uniformly or systematically to a larger population. And so when we speak about public health, we talk about all and not only a subsegment of a population. And that's how we want to leverage technology to spread the care and benefit the public by raising awareness and engagement.
Okay. Suman, you want to add anything to in terms of public health?
So it's more philosophical. When we say public health, we kind of generalize everything. We just put everything in one bucket. I think little bit extending from what Jaydev said, Dr. Jaydev said, is that there are segments of population and there are classes and geographies. Even in my presentation, I said every human is unique. Our habit of kind of putting things in one bucket and kind of giving one solution to all of them in the same bucket, that I think is a big problem. And public health should first address that. It should first appreciate that there is uniqueness, and based on the uniqueness, they can have certain commonalities. And that is where I think technology will help. Just because somebody is in one age bracket and has one kind of blood pressure, automatic correlations are made in so many other things. And I think Dr. Jaydev will talk more about it, but evidence-based medicine also has this habit that, 3 parameters match and automatically you believe that 5 others would match too. And that I think is a problem with public health, where generalization of populations is happening. It is understandable when there is an epidemic or there is things like plague or typhoid outbreaks. At that time, there is no other option because rapidly things have to be done. So you have to basically do what farmers do. They spray that pesticide on all the crop. Now, as humans, we don't need to do that. I mean, we don't want to have such generalized applications. So I believe that as the cost of technology is going down, cloud computing is going down, data connectivity is increasing. We all know how many satellites the world's first and second richest man, Bezos and Musk, are sending in the space to get connectivity in the entire world. Like the remotest areas are going to get connected in the next 5 years. The cost of these devices that Dr. Jaydev displayed itself is going down. Very good, efficient subscription models are coming, right? Now, you don't have to buy upfront. You don't have to put your capital and block it. You can put it on a subscription basis. So eventually, if there is, and it's not a question of if, I think it's a question of when. When the basic identification is available on an individualized level of each and every person of the public, as we say, there would be this specialized and personalized method of addressing their particular needs, rather than spraying what you feel is the general problem and just address everyone. I have a counter question, if you don't mind, Muthu. I was very curious about Dr. Jaydev's bed flow. And Jaydev, if you don't mind sharing, and you can tell us if it is still in confidentiality, you can avoid that. But I was curious to know that this med flow is very systematic flow based identification of problems and how they develop. Are you able to sort out and correlate between different patients, or is it only for one patient that you can do this? Can you like get intelligence out of this?
Is that question for me or Muthu?
For you, Jaydev, for the med flow presentation that you made, my question is that right now your flow chart is pretty much for one patient and their journey through the medical care in different stages, right? But uh, is it something that you can even derive intelligence out of, because you have data sets of so many different patients and various combinations? So can you derive some intelligence out of it by
Yeah.
looking at the results?
Yes, you can. So the more you input, the more you get output, right? So when you order test using this, it captures that information, okay? And then it uses that information for a future clinician who is tackling the same problem and is trying to, let's say another patient comes with fatigue and weight gain, then the probability equation that comes into play to show that this is 60% likely to be hypothyroidism comes from all those database that previous clinicians have used to order the testing. So it records all the information and the activities within that, and then gives a better input. So it gets better over time, like any AI model. It gets better over time. Or else you can also infuse database. Let's say you go with a healthcare organization who are willing to share their database from last 5 years with you. You can easily use that database to already create what is unique to that organization, to that population, to that demographics, and continue to learn from there thereafter. So even though it is at an individual level, it studies at a population level, and it precisely directs care at a person level.
Perfect. Thank you so much for explaining that. And I think I kind of guessed that when you were making the presentation, but I wanted to make sure that that's how you're doing it. So Muthu, see, that is one of the good examples, right? That individual data points are collected when they are being treated, but then the cumulative intelligence of that would benefit the society at large if that information is used to make it better for the next person. So that's
But
what
I
I feel.
guess to do personalized medicine, you will need to have historical uh, data and so on to analyze, right? You need to have the intelligence to come out with the personalized data, right? For personalized medicine for a particular patient. So it is important that we have to collect data from various patients and see the reaction. So I suppose one of the benefits of personalized medicine would be they'd be getting the right drugs and right treatment instead of giving them random drugs and random, like you had shown in your flow chart. You may need 20 tests to come up with something, but once you do one test, you can probably eliminate 8 other tests instead of going one by one by one by one. So I think that's where personalized medicine would be of great value. And do you think hospitals, physicians, and patients are looking for personalized healthcare, or would they be, they rather just go in, get things done quickly, and get away? Because obviously, personalized medicine is going to take time. It's not going to be as quick as a random prescription of a drug, obviously.
Yeah, right now, obviously, the patients many times complain that they are made the guinea pig. We have heard that often enough that you try things, and many times as doctor, we don't have concrete answers. We say, yeah, I think this has worked for most of the individuals. So we say, for most it works. So you try it out. It may work. If it doesn't work, if you have side effects, you call back. That's our standard answer these days, right? Which will change to, wait a second, let me do this testing on you. Let's take some saliva. Let's genetically check it out. At least with 95% surety, 90% surety, or 99% surety, I can tell you, but based on what is available, that this medication will work for you, and likelihood of it causing harm is less than 1%. So we have to change our language from what we're talking today to future, when we get that technology very commonly available at a lower cost. Right now, many insurance don't cover it. So that's a barrier or a challenge, right? And that time when the patients have experienced that, then they won't want to go back. Today, if I can tell you with 99% surety this will work, versus telling you, yeah, it works for most, you try it out and you tell me, Once patient has experienced this, they don't want to go back to the previous way of being treated.
Cool.
So yes, they will accept
Yes.
it and they will like it.
Okay, very good. Suman, you would like to add? So with that, we can end if you have nothing to add.
Well, I can say that, you know, a custom designed shirt always is better than a ready-made shirt. So
Okay, very good. Very
if
good
you,
comparison. Fantastic. So I'd like to thank both gentlemen for being with me, and especially it's extremely early for Sumant, and it's pretty late for you down the US. So thank you so much for having such an engaging conversation. I've certainly learned. I mean, I am better informed about personalized medicine now than I was an hour ago. So that's great. And of course, we can keep speaking and learning for the rest of the day, but obviously that's not possible. So I thank you both. And at 3 o'clock Singapore time, we have a very, very full and fun-packed uh, panel on women in healthcare and life sciences. It's going to be 9 extremely smart, brilliant women around the world going to be having that discussion. And my colleague will be she will be chairing that session. So that's at 3 o'clock at Singapore time. So it'll be great. It will be great for the audience or anyone who's available to join that, because these are extremely smart, brilliant women who will talk about their startups and what they are doing in this area. So with that, I sign off for now, and thank you so much to the
thank you.
organizers and to my panel. See you soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.